The ad literally starts with your app, front and center.
Whoa, 98 miles per hour. Nice.
Yeah. I mean, that was crazy.
This is Swapnil, and he's the CEO of Swing Vision, and this is not the first time that their app has made it to Apple's stage.
Like Swing Vision.
Basically became like the #1 app for tennis on the watch. Apple ended up featuring it on their website when they launched the Series 4.
In a sea of apps, being on Apple's side for highlights or stories or stage can, in all the sense of the word, make or break your company.
And it's usually a download spike of like maybe 10x of your normal daily downloads.
Swing Vision is one of my favorite startups today, and it was founded by first-time entrepreneurs. And I love their story, not only because it's a product I use almost every day, not because they managed to raise money from some of tennis' biggest stars, and then followed by a $2 million round led by Tennis Australia, but because they figured problem and solution from the get-go. They assembled an incredible team and they bootstrapped until the right time to raise. And in retrospect, all of their choices seem obvious, and we're going to go through them, but those options are not immediately obvious when you're building and when you're starting a business. So I sat down with their CEO a few weeks back, and here's their story along their secret to making it to Apple's stage again and again.
Yeah, so I'm a lifelong tennis player and I've always been kind of into the data and the stats and everything. And the fundamental problem I had was I wanted a way to basically track my game and improve my game. And there wasn't an easy way to do that.
Now, this guy wasn't pitching me. He was just telling me how the company got started. But this, I think, would make for a killer problem slide. It touched on the why, it talked about a problem that he found in the market, and it talked about his experience in the matter. Now, Swapnil used to work at Tesla.
And then a big part of the idea came from my experience working at Tesla too. So I was working in autonomous driving there. I was specifically working on tracking objects, so like cars and pedestrians around the Teslas using computer vision and artificial intelligence.
To investors, the fact that him and his co-founder, who's also an engineer, were willing to leave these cool, well-paying jobs with probably vesting stock in Tesla to pursue this is also a very important signal. But that is, of course, not enough to raise money. Early versions of the app were all bootstrapped. How did you find your first 1,000 customers, say?
Yeah, so the first 1,000 was when we were working on Swing as a kind of part-time project. So I was still in grad school doing like my PhD. I was out in New York and I basically wanted to just make a watch app. And we just organically started getting a bunch of people like you who basically were just looking for some way to track their tennis on the watch. And as you said, there weren't a lot of apps out there. I think our design was like the best, the ease of use was the best. So we kind of got a lot of traction that way and basically became like the #1 app for tennis on the watch.
Now, Swing's fundraising story is also pretty cool. The first money came in from retired tennis players, most prominently this guy, Andy Roddick. I've talked about this plenty of times, but your network as a founder is so incredibly valuable. You don't raise money from Andy Roddick by just having a cool app.
I had a friend in high school who ended up playing professional. And so his physio, I guess, somehow knows James Blake. So that was kind of the connection there. And his physio actually was an avid user of the watch app, coincidentally. He was like, oh, I love Swing. Like, yeah, I'll make an introduction. So then I went with him to San Diego. We met James at like this country club. And I had like a small like pitch deck prepared, which was basically talking about how we were working part-time on this watch app. We were featured on the Series 4 website. So Apple really likes what we're doing. I've worked at Tesla, like I have the credibility. So we tried to like frame it that way. And then we basically said, but the real thing we're building is this video analysis app. It's going to be able to track your shots, do line calling, do all these kinds of amazing things that like no one thinks is possible with an iPhone. And so it was like the craziest idea to do that. But we pitched it and James actually just loved it right away. He's like, this is amazing. Like when I was a pro, I would have loved to have this. In the professional matches, obviously they have Hawkeye, but like most matches, first of all, don't have Hawkeye. It's just if you're in like the big tournaments. And then even if you're like Roger Federer, if you're going training, which is actually spend more time in the practice than the match, you don't have anything. Like there is no Hawkeye when in like random court in Switzerland, right? So it's like, that's what James was basically telling me was like, they have nothing. Like even the pros have nothing. And so I was really surprised about that. And so he saw a lot of potential there. And then obviously he saw that any recreational player can use it. So like, it's just so scalable. We wanted to raise like a little bit more money. And so we were like, maybe we can try to get one more professional player. And so then he invited me to Texas in this exhibition match that he was playing a bunch of other tennis players. So I was there in the locker room with him, basically. Like, he was basically going in and out and playing matches and coming back to the locker room. And then Andy Roddick was there as well. And then Jim Courier was there and John McEnroe. So they were all there, like all four of them kind of rotating and playing each other. So it was pretty crazy. So it was just four of them and me in the locker room. And then I just like pitched to all of them. And John McEnroe was not interested at all.
So now tell me, I want to talk about the whole Apple thing. So you said your first feature was Apple. I may remember this. The website of Apple Watch Series 4, right? That's the first.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was pretty cool. We were like right next to Nike. It was sick.
Yeah. I kind of remember. I was using you by then. Like I already had it. And I'm like, oh, these guys are featured. That's awesome. How did that happen? How does Apple find you? Do they tell you that they find you?
Yeah, that one was pretty interesting. Well, so first of all, there was like someone at Apple who like reached out to us like before that actually, and he was like, "Oh, like we really love what you're doing on the Apple Watch. We think it's so cool." And there was no like expectations in that initial meeting, honestly, but it was just kind of like, "We love what you're doing. We'd love to just like stay in touch and like see how it goes and like help you make the app better." So that was what they said originally. So I was like, "Oh, that's cool to have just like someone like kind of like an advocate for us and like make sure to make good apps." And they would always ask like, you know, what technologies are you using? What technologies are you planning to adopt? Like, are you using Caramel? Are you using, you know, Siri Kit? What are you using in the app? So they're always trying to like push you to use the latest technology and like adopt it in the right way, almost. Mm-hmm. But then, yeah, as we got closer to the Series 4 launch, then they reached out and asked for like some assets from us for the watch. They didn't really specify what it was. Like they're not going to tell you like it's a new watch, even though everybody knows it's a new watch. But they don't say that, obviously. So we had no idea, honestly. Like we had no context for what this is for. Like I don't know if this is just going to be on the App Store. I don't know what it's going to be for. We just gave them assets and then surprised we were on the Series 4 website. So that was really cool. We had no idea that was going to happen.
Do you guys have like a watch party for the Apple event? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I mean, we were all kind of just watching on our laptops. I mean, our team is like distributed, but yeah, I definitely was watching it on TV and like we're all just like spamming the Slack channel, you know, because we're just like, oh my god, like so. That was cool. But I mean, this keynote was crazy because we were in the keynote twice, which is like unheard of. We were in the watch portion and the iPhone 13 portion. So that's why it was like an even bigger surprise. I was like, I did not expect like no app gets featured twice. Like, that's rare. That was really cool.
So this relationship with Apple that gives you 10x downloads is a complete one-way relationship. When Apple wants to feature you, they'll call you.
Yeah.
You don't get to call them ever, right?
No, not really. Yeah, that's not really how it works. I think that's how it is for most of their apps. Like, I think it's just they will reach out. I mean, the initial conversation, they have to be the ones initiating that. And then anything that happens from that point on, they have to initiate. I mean, you know, I can definitely like ping them and be like, hey, we're working on this cool feature. Like, it might be nice for this thing or this product or whatever. But like, I don't think it actually has a lot of weight when I say that. And so I realized like, I just don't really do too much of that. I mean, we still keep them informed of our roadmap and we keep them informed of like what we're planning to build in the future for Swing Vision. And then if it finds a way to align, they'll reach out to us about it, but it's all completely them. And then that initial call too, like, I think they reached out because we really focused on like the design of the watch app. We just did like a really, really good job. I think that really stood out to them. And obviously they appreciate that. They appreciate simplicity and like good design. It's kind of cool, but also sad because it's like you can't really have a say in it, and it's a little bit obviously a lot of luck involved too. Mm-hmm. You just have to hope that they find your app. But I think there's a lot of things you can do if you kind of do the right things. You'll at least kind of get shown to them. I think they're like really like the team at Apple and also the App Store team is really good at like looking through all the apps on the App Store and like doing a really good job of like finding like the really good ones. And so like if you build like a really solid app, like I think eventually they will take notice of it. You know, eventually if you get like enough people leaving like really nice reviews or they see like a lot of usage of it or a lot of downloads, right? So, but like it can take a while, right?
And that's that. I honestly usually tell these stories myself, but I think Swipnil does a great job of doing his own story. Definitely better than me. So we uploaded the whole interview to our lessons module inside of Slidebean. So you want to check that out if you want. If you don't know what Slidebean is, it's essentially a fundraising OS for entrepreneurs, a suite of tools that you will need as you approach building your business. You can sign up for free, link in the description. And if you're a tennis fan, you should already be using Swing Tennis. I will also link that in the description. This is not a sponsored video. I genuinely love this app. I'll see you guys next week.